I'm not really big on conspiracy theories, but Army scored a touchdown off of a pass this weekend, so A&M is upsetting Clemson. it's happening. That's how I know. It's confirmed.
You sound like every conspiracy theorist. Hey everyone, I'm Spencer. This is the Gameday Breakfast Podcast. This is my co-host, Daryl. What's up, Daryl?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing so good, actually. This is my favorite week because it's the week when things stop being like a tease, and you have like a couple good games. Like the floodgates are opening this week. We're getting some seriously good like top 10, top 15 matchups this week.
Yes, sir. What'd you have for breakfast this morning, Daryl?
I had my stock breakfast tacos that I always make. A little bit of turkey, a little bit of stuff. But the Friday morning that this goes up, I'm going to probably also have that because I meal prep. Or I'll probably have cereal because I forgot to do that tonight. I forgot to cook tonight.
Yeah, you could consider that I had cereal. I had some cereal. I had some tricks this morning.
What do you mean you could consider it I had cereal?
I mean,
was it not technically cereal?
It depends on what your definition of the word breakfast is. But
so we're not about to get into like breakfast conspiracy theories too.
But yeah,
it's really Lucky Charms.
No, it was tricks, and they're back to the shapes like they were when we were kids. They're not just the circles anymore.
I never realized they changed it.
Yeah, they changed it.
What if it was never shapes before? What if that was also a conspiracy?
I mean, there's a theory out there that says we stopped seeing the shapes because tricks are for kids and we're adults now. So. But,
all right, you know what? Let's change the podcast. This is now a cereal podcast. We're going to talk about the history of cereals.
What's your favorite cereal, Daryl?
Man, I got to go with adult me is Raisin Bran Crunch because I genuinely love some Raisin Bran Crunch. As a kid, though, it was it's really good, and the raisins go a long way. As a kid, it was Reese's Puffs.
Oh, those are delicious. I just had a box of those not too long ago. I didn't eat the entire box. My wife ate a bowl or two.
They're hard to stop. They're hard to put down, man. If you have them dry and you have the box like in your hand watching a good movie, you'll eat the whole box and not even blink an eye.
It's like eating Reese's cups. Like, why would I actually buy Reese's cups when I could just buy the cereal?
Right, but they've got vitamins like infused because they're trying to get you supplemented for breakfast.
Yeah.
So it feels healthy, but it's horrible for you.
Yeah. It's like that old adage, like your mom would tell you. When you wanted a really sugary cereal when you were a kid, she'd be like, "Well, eating the box would be more healthy for you than that cereal would be."
That thing your mom said to you?
I mean, I never really heard it that much, but I know people's parents have said it to them.
What's the thing that the world's mom said to the world?
Yeah, something like that. There's actually, did you ever watch Mythbusters when they were still happening?
Are you kidding me? Of course, I watched I shoved that show into my eyes on a weekly basis. I love the Mythbusters.
So I was watching. It was after the show had ended. I was watching a thing with Adam Savage, and he was doing like a TED Talk type of thing, giving like a presentation. And somebody in the crowd asked him if there's a theory, if there's a myth that they ever tested that would never see the light of day. That they did it, but it never got shown, and they tested the myth that I was just talking about, that the cardboard box that sugary cereal comes in is more healthy for you than the sugary cereal. And so what they did is they took 3 sets of lab mice, and so they had 3 as a control eating normal lab mice food. They had the other 3 eating Fruit Loops, and then they had another 3 eating a like cardboard pellet that Jamie had made for them to eat. And so they get everything done. They lock up on Friday night, and everything is fine. But they could kind of tell toward the week that the mice eating the cardboard had started to look kind of like they weren't having the greatest time. So
I can't imagine why.
Yeah. So they come back in on Monday morning, and they look in the control cage, just eating normal mouse food. Mice are fine. They look in the Fruit Loops cage. Mice are fine. They look in the cardboard food pellet cage, and now There are not 3 mice. There is one really fat mouse. And Adam said it basically looked like this mouse.
Did he eat the other 2 mice?
He ate the other 2 mice, and it said it looked like he ate them like a cob on the corn because there was a head and a tail and then just a rib cage in the middle.
God. I think it's safe to say we know what breakfast cereal Tennessee had this weekend.
Oh, for sure. They had that cardboard pellets.
It was not one of the first 2.
Yeah.
That was yikes.
Yeah. And then Adam said that never made the light of day.
Oh, that's good. I'm
sorry about that tangent, but yeah.
Oh, I mean that was, that was really educational, actually. Don't eat cardboard, I guess, is the moral of the story.
Of the story. Don't eat cardboard or feed cardboard to your pets, because
lose to Georgia Southern.
Yeah,
as a matter of fact,
you might lose to Georgia Southern.
Yeah, that's what happens.
SEC teams have a habit of losing to Sunbelt teams.
I don't know what that is, man. It's I don't know if it's the week 1 jitters. I don't know if it's the lofty expectations combined with a team that has nothing to lose. But man, you got to look at it. You got to look at that game. You got to look at the North Carolina, South Carolina game. You got to look at some of these. The Wyoming State game? Is that who upset Mizzou?
Wyoming.
Wyoming. Yeah, that was the one that shocked me. I saw. Yeah, it didn't surprise me that Ole Miss lost, because Memphis is historically good and has had Ole Miss's number in the past.
Yeah,
I thought with Ole Miss having sort of a down year right now, it's probably going to be something along those lines. But boy, to see that, and then to see that on top of Mizzou, I just did not. I did not see that.
I mean, I was wrong about Mizzou. I thought Mizzou was.
And a lot of people were blowing him up because they have what's his name, Kelly Bryant coming in, yeah, and expectations will kill you.
They got good receivers, they got a good running back, but I watched the highlights from that game, and Mizzou's defensive line couldn't stop a wet paper bag, because Wyoming's quarterback attempted 16 passes all game. He completed 6 of them for 95 yards. But they ran down Mizzou's throat all game. The quarterback had 12 rushes for 120 and a touchdown. The running back had 16 rushes for 100 and something and a touchdown. They were running all over them. It was ridiculous. And I was just like, this is not a typical SEC defense. I was shocked. But I'm happy for Wyoming, and I love Wyoming's color scheme. That brown and yellow and white, it looks really good.
I want to say I heard that coach got a $100,000 bonus for beating them.
Really?
I think so.
Good for him.
In fact, good for him for sure. I'm looking that up actually real quick because I'm very curious. I want to say I saw that, or one of these teams. Actually, it might have been Georgia State. If it was Tennessee, they got that.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was Georgia State.
It was one of the 2. I think it might have actually been Georgia State. But let me go look at Mizzou, that game real quick.
Yeah.
Team stats.
What do you think makes it upset, Daryl? What do you think it is when, let's say, a Georgia State beats a Tennessee, or 2 years ago Troy beats LSU, or 12 years ago now an Appalachian State beats Michigan? What do you think contributes to an upset? What do you think the number one factor to that is?
The number one factor behind it happening?
Yes. What do you think contributes to that the most?
Honestly, man, I think it comes from preparation of the game. I think it comes from if you're a team like Mizzou who has big games down the road. I don't know who they have week 2.
I will check on that for you right now.
Check on that. But typically, if a team has sort of an opening, quote unquote preseason game against a nobody like that, I don't want to say inexperienced, a coaching staff that hasn't been around enough to sort of know these type of things can happen will look ahead and be so worried about some the bigger next game. Mm-hmm. For example, it would have been very easy for A&M to just sort of overlook Texas State and see Clemson and go, wow, we really got to start preparing for them. Start looking at film early, start preparing for them early. But they didn't do that. They were very adamant about making sure that they checked on Texas State.
Yeah, Coach Fisher wouldn't have let him done that.
Right. To me, it starts with the film and the preparation for that team because football is such a preparative game. The game to me in a lot of ways is one or you greatly extend your chances of winning by preparing well. And I think that's probably what it was. I think not only did Mizzou maybe overlook these guys, overlook Wyoming. I think the players were sort of almost taking it as a given, especially with all the hype that was around the team with Kelly Bryant coming in and everything else.
Yeah.
But boy, I mean, you're right. I mean, 114 rushing yards from Mizzou to Wyoming's 297.
Yeah, they ran all over
on the same number of attempts, 42 attempts for both teams, but an average of 7.1 for Wyoming and an average of 2.7 per run for Mizzou.
Yeah.
That is bad. That is bad.
Yeah, Mizzou plays West Virginia this week, and also I was wrong about James Madison beating West Virginia, but they hung around. West Virginia only got them by a touchdown, but James Madison is still one of the best teams in the FCS. So I think that'll be a good game.
Yeah.
But if West Virginia can run the ball like Wyoming ran the ball, Mizzou's gonna have a rough day.
And it makes you wonder if it's sort of is it a scheme issue? Like I don't know a lot about Wyoming's offense, but obviously remember that game last year when Citadel was running all over Alabama in the first quarter. I don't know if it was a formation thing and they just weren't used to going against this particular type of offense or what it was. But that really is the key difference. I mean, time of possession is like both about 30 minutes. Turnovers was a big one. There was 3 turnovers for Mizzou.
Yeah, they couldn't hold on to the ball. They kept fumbling. It was insane.
Both had 5 penalties for 30 yards. I mean, it was pretty down the board with everything else.
Yeah, it just their defense couldn't stop the run game. So if Mizzou's defense goes up against a team with a good offensive line and a better like running quarterback or a good running back, watch out for a career day from somebody.
Yeah. Well, and I think one thing that Missouri does have going forward is Kelly Bryant went for 423 yards through the air.
Exactly. Like he threw for a bunch, but their defense couldn't stop anybody.
So they may end up looking like 2013 A&M where Menzel was throwing on everybody, but they just could not outpace people,
Yeah.
Is their defense going to stop anybody?
Yeah, like you don't want to be trading scores when you're down by 2. You know, like down by 2 scores already. Like trading touchdowns that's not a good idea when you're down that big already.
Yeah, precisely.
So, but yeah, man.
Speaking of upsets, I want to talk about something wild from this weekend. I want to talk about the drive, in my opinion, the biggest drive of the weekend. When a team needed to score, they went down and did it. And I'm actually not talking about that last Auburn drive, although that was rather impressive. But I'll explain why this one was more impressive than the Auburn drive. What I'm talking about is the South Carolina-North Carolina game. We're looking at a moment in this game where South Carolina was up 20-17. The entire game was very much all South Carolina. North Carolina could not sort of find chemistry. There were lots of mistakes early on, from what I have saw. But I tuned in probably on like the third. No, I tuned in. Like towards the end of the third quarter. It was kind of it was a typical South Carolina style game where not a whole lot happens, and the score usually ends up being like 20-15 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's just like that, and North Carolina, they're at home. They're happy that Mac Brown's there, but not expecting a lot because what are you going to do? You're North Carolina with a retired Mac Brown coming in. Yeah. So, anyways, I think the score was 20-10, I believe at this point. No, it was 20-9. North Carolina goes down, they score, right, and it was a fine drive, and it had a couple fortunate plays. 40-yard pass, good catch. It was like a one-handed grab. Lots of fun. That got the team wired up. I mean, it's funny how one play can change a game because this guy had like a momentum shift. He hit it. They come out. Okay, so it's 20-15. They get the 2-point conversion. They get it. They run like a little quarterback keeper around the right. Good blocking gets in. 20-17. So now there's about 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. South Carolina has to come out, even though they've been dominating all game, and then put that behind them and be like, well, time to go. They 3 and out, but they get a good kick. So they got the ball on the North Carolina 3-yard line, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback comes out. They run 2 plays. They run it down. They sort of get out of their own end zone. It's 3rd and 4. And then I'm actually going to play the play real quick to just sort of watch it. So they're a long pass at 3rd and 4 on like the 9-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
And then boom, a 40-yard pass down the right, just over the guy. Really, really impressive. And so you're thinking, okay, something could actually happen. Maybe this North Carolina team is going to do something. And then this happens. So you get up on the 40, it's 4th and 10. Then the guy's about to get sacked. Quarterback, almost a horse collar, manages to get away somehow. And this guy's name is Sam Howell, I think. I think it might be Sam. It says
I think it's Hal. I know his last name's Hal. I'm not sure what his first name is.
Yeah, I want to say it's Sam, but whatever.
I will look at that for you.
Comes around the right. Appreciate it. Comes around the right. And by the way, he had 2 touchdowns this game. Both were in the 4th quarter.
Really?
So just to show you, he rolls around the right after this sack. He throws a dart, right? He throws a dart way past the first down marker. And then this is what happened. This ball was supposed to get picked off. 9 times out of 10, this ball gets picked off because the DB comes from behind the wide receiver who's running sort of like an out to the right route. He already had a guy on him. The DB comes from behind, and he had so much momentum, and the ball had so much momentum in the opposite direction, it looked like he was just going to take it and run it straight back, right? And even the cameraman sort of went with him. And then as soon as that happened, the ball went through his hands and lands in the receiver's hands. So they get the first down, the guy falls out of bounds. 40 yards, and actually I sent it to the Discord, so if you want to look at it really quick, straight through the guy's hands. I mean, it was like a scene from the Fast and the Furious. So we're inside the 25. Big long pass, almost identical to the other one where the guy had the one-handed catch, except this time the guy was just a mismatch, and then they score. They go up 24-20, and then they basically have the sloppiest ending to a game ever. But man, that last drive was incredible. Just to see almost a sack.
Yeah.
Then almost a sack, then almost a pick where it goes right through his hands, and then they march down and score. They hold out South Carolina, win 20-24. They get 2 picks back to back. Their defense stepped up, and that's what you love to see. You love to see when a defense actually backs up the offense for, going out there and putting on a show.
Momentum is one hell of a drug.
Absolutely. And then Matt Brown cried after the game, and I couldn't handle it. So
yeah,
that was my drive of the week. Now, why was that bigger than the Auburn drive? Here's why. Because Oregon allowed it to happen, and this is the reason. Bo Nix, very talented kid. He's going to do big things. It's his first big game.
Yeah, he's going to be great.
Oh, he's going to be awesome. The entire game, and I don't know how much of the game you caught, Spencer.
Literally 0.
Oh, okay. Well, did you see the last drive?
Yes, I've seen the last drive. I've seen the last play. I have my opinions about it, but continue with your story.
So it was an interesting drive because all they had to do was kick a field goal, and they were going to win the game.
Yes.
And they were sort of struggling to sort of inch it down the field. When offenses get down there and they're sort of trying to be careful and like place the ball and make sure that they have the yardage they want and the part of the field they want, that sort of like narrows your opportunities, right?
Yeah.
Entire game. So keep that in mind. The entire game, Oregon was just coming right at Bo Nix. I mean, they were putting a lot of pressure. They were sort of trying to force this guy to make plays. They were loading the box on most plays. They were sort of just running like man zone, little things like that. Nothing super like worried about him passing. They didn't really respect him throwing the ball, as they shouldn't have. He wasn't really making a whole lot of impressive throws. But they were loading the box. So they get to the end of the game, and they're in that last little drive. And then it was a beautiful pass. The guy was mismatched. I don't think it was a linebacker he was on, but he was the wide receiver was definitely bigger than this other guy.
Oh, for sure. I think it was a DB he was on. But
I think so, but I think it was just a size differential. Yeah. Just the wide
Williams, the wide receiver, that guy that caught that ball is so tall.
Big boy. And so I think that what was nice about that, or what was cool about that, was that to get the sort of size differential there. But the reason it wasn't as impressive to me is because essentially in that moment, Oregon did not respect the fact that they could still throw the ball downfield and try to score.
Yeah.
In that moment, they were so, number one, they were so concerned with making sure that they didn't get the little bit of yards to get their field goal that they didn't worry about sort of making sure this guy was covered. Because it was just him. It was a one-on-one, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It was one-on-one.
And so, again, both impressive. Major props to both. But that North Carolina drive really had me going.
Yeah. My opinion about that last play, that last drive for Auburn, I think Bo Nix is going to be great, but I don't think he had the game that people are saying he had. Because from what I saw and what I've heard, he played like crap for a long time.
He had the fourth quarter that they say he had, but definitely wasn't the whole game.
Yeah. I just think the DB for Oregon didn't make the right play. He went after the receiver, and he should have went for the ball because he was right there when the ball was thrown. Like, he got to him in time, but he tried to make the tackle. But he was at a size disadvantage because the guy he was up against was huge, right? Like this.
Right, and let's be honest, it was a really nice placed ball. I mean, the tall guy had to go up to get it. Williams had to go up. So
it was a little underthrown, but other than that, it was fine. Like, there was no. But yeah, and like, maybe it's just the way my football mind works. Like, yes, that was a great play, and it's going to go down as part of Bo Nix's legacy. But I was kind of watching it on the Gamecast and listening to it on the radio. Excuse me. I had to burp. But I was listening to it on the radio. And so you get down there, and there's 16 seconds left. And I don't know if Auburn had any timeouts, but if they do, to me, you just come out and you kneel the ball and wait till you get to... You kneel the ball and take a timeout with like 2 seconds left and then kick the field goal, right? Like, maybe that's just the way my mind works, but now we have, a good play for a good opening weekend. Wild opening weekend, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I think if you're an NFL team, you're going to do what you just said. I think you're going to take you're just going to be smart. You're going to go ahead and give the trust to your kicker. But I think in this particular instance, and I don't know this, but I think there was probably some sort of call at the line of going, hey, this guy's been on one-on-one for 2 plays now.
Oh, for sure.
Why not take a shot? We have enough time. Why not take a shot? And then they did, and that sealed it,
Yeah.
So, Gus Malzahn, he's a madman right there.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of college football.
Absolutely.
So,
hit me with your topic, dog.
Yeah, I saw, I'll do the heavy hitting one I've got for later. I saw that the American Athletic Conference, who is people like Memphis, Houston, UCF, FAU, teams like that.
Those we deserve to be in the playoff teams.
We're going to get into that. But
Allegedly.
So they're moving away from divisions, and next season they're going to not have. I think they have an East and West right now, but I'm not entirely positive. But it's either an East and a West or a North and a South. I don't remember. I want to say it's East and West though, because a lot of their teams are in the South. So they're moving away from divisions, and the top 2 teams in the conference are going to play each other for the conference championship.
Oh.
I have very mixed feelings about this, because I think for the American Conference, for the American Athletic Conference, it'll be fine. Like, I don't think it's going to change a heck of a whole lot. But for other conferences, I kind of have an issue with it because of traditional rivalry games. Like, last year, Texas beat Oklahoma in the regular season, and then they had to play Oklahoma again in the Big 12 championship. I don't think that should ever happen, which is why I think the Big 12 needs to add 2 more teams to go back to a North-South division. So you can have, if you win your division, you win the conference, like, you get to play for the conference championship. So I just think it creates scenarios where, like, let's say, what was it, 2 years ago, Memphis and UCF played, and Memphis had UCF, and it was in 2017, Memphis had UCF on the ropes the whole game, and UCF comes back and beats them 31-30. But then they ended up playing each other again in the conference championship, and Memphis had them on the ropes again. They were up big on them, and UCF came back. So, but I just think I shouldn't have to play somebody I already beat for the conference championship. You know what I mean? It was like that whole situation, and I'm not going to go into a big rant about this, but it was that whole situation in the 2011 national championship when LSU had already beaten Alabama in the regular season. They had won the SEC championship, but then Iowa State upsets Oklahoma State in that last game, and the BCS computers put Alabama in the national championship. To me, that should have never happened. LSU already beat Alabama. Alabama did not win the conference. They didn't even win their division because they lost to LSU that season. You can make it. What's up?
Unrelated but related. Was that the year that LSU never crossed the 50-yard line?
Yes, in the national championship, they never made it to the 50.
So that's a topic on its own because how does that happen?
Uh,
If they beat Bama earlier in the year, how does that happen?
because Les Miles refused to take Jordan Jefferson out and put Jarrett Lee in. He kept trying to run the option, and it was not working because Alabama's run defense was great that year, and we needed to throw the deep ball with Jarrett Lee because he had an arm and Jordan Jefferson didn't. And so
That's a topic for a future podcast because I feel like that's a story. That
this topic has been talked about ad nauseum. Like it's been talked about a bunch, but like I have my own opinions about it.
Outside of that, I'm outside of the LSU realm though.
Yeah,
So I need to be educated on that.
Yeah.
Not right now. Like I want to keep talking about your topic, but just for future reference, we should definitely touch on that.
Oh, 100%. Actually, there's a funny story. There's a funny story about that game because it was played in New Orleans in the Superdome, right? There was something kind of strange happened after that game. The LSU buses actually got stuck in New Orleans for a long time. It was weird.
Really?
Yeah, because somebody painted the 50-yard line in front of the buses and they couldn't go anywhere.
Oh, that's harsh.
Yeah, diehard LSU fan told me that one.
It's painful.
Yeah,
It's like that sounds like a Cowboys joke. You know, people
that does sound like a Cowboys joke.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, as far as your opinion on the ACC on the AAC goes, or did you have more thoughts? I don't want to cut you off if you have more to say about that.
I just think. Well, I said 2 weeks ago, I think everybody should be in a conference. I don't think every conference should have divisions because it stops two teams from having to play each other again. Like if I already beat you, why do I have to play you again in the conference championship? That's the whole thing.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Even when there was divisions, they still had a conference championship, right?
Yes, they still had a conference championship. And they're still going to have a conference championship, and they still have divisions this year. But next year they're moving away from divisions. And, it's fine. I don't think it's going to affect that much, but just personal opinion is something I don't really care for.
I'm not a fan of the playing twice thing.
Yeah, it's like...
Get that. I wasn't sure because I don't know a lot about the AAC, to be honest with you. And I wasn't sure if they were adding a championship game or what exactly was going on.
No,
but I was
they have one already.
Gotcha. I don't know. I don't understand the rationale behind it, but if it's a change that they want to make and they think that's for the best interest of their conference, then I'm all for it. But I don't fully understand unless they're just saying that they want the championship to be as prestigious as possible. So if two teams from the same division are that good, that we should have a bigger time championship game.
Oh, for sure.
If there's a year that the SEC East is horrible, and yet LSU and Alabama are tearing it up, that should be the championship game because it's sort of like the semifinals being basically the finals. Like whoever wins this game will go to win. We know it's a fact.
I don't know. Like, I like the whole, they'll call it like the de facto championship. You know what I mean? Like, when it's like those two teams will play, whoever wins goes to the conference championship. I like it better that way because it puts big rivalry games with more on the line. Like, LSU A&M is like a budding kind of new rivalry. I mean, even though those are our two teams and we support both teams unless we're playing each other. And it's kind of budding new, or like the Iron Bowl. Like, historically, the Iron Bowl, you get down to that last game, Alabama and Auburn, you get down to that last game of the season, there's been a bunch of times where the winner of that game goes to the SEC championship. So, I just think it should be, it lets you keep rivalries intact, and it lets rivalries have more bragging rights.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so, but yeah, was there something else you wanted to get into?
Well, actually, it's funny you mentioned that. We're going to be getting into something that we're taking a bit of a field trip this weekend, aren't we, buddy?
Yes, sir. We are going to be in Austin, Texas for College Game Day. They're going to the LSU at UT game, and we are going to be in the crowd. And
Spencer has promised that at some point he is going to storm the stage and then hold Lee Corso in a headlock until everyone on the cast of the show tells him what they had for breakfast. So, I'm gonna film it and point the police in the wrong direction.
Yeah, and then you can all come pay my bill.
That's right. We'll get you out of there because it'll be totally worth it.
Worth it.
Yeah, and actually, you know what? Forget the five of them. I want to meet Bear.
Yeah, dude, he's so good.
Such a great guy.
Yeah, and I mean, he's so knowledgeable. I don't know if you were watching Game Day this past week. But
coaches, the amount of coaches he knows.
He was like triple digits, and I was like, holy crap.
Of non-Power 5 teams, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unreal, the amount of knowledge in that dude's chrome.
But, like, hey, I mean, he's smart. And, like, he always talks about, like, these betting lines about games that aren't even on my radar. I'm just like, where are you getting this? But it's so fascinating to watch.
He's like that weird YouTube channel that does video essays on the Revolutionary War and a movie that was done about it in the 40s, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Didn't even know it existed.
He's like the gatekeeper to the weird part of college football YouTube. Like,
yeah. It's totally what he is.
Yeah. And hell, we may end up on the weird part of college football YouTube, but he's definitely the gatekeeper to it.
Create a whole new branch of it, dude.
Yeah, he's
whole new corner.
He's great, man.
But let's talk about those Texas Longhorns and those Texas Aggies and what exactly is really going to happen this weekend. Because we can talk about upsets all day. We can talk about how good they're supposed to be all day. But what is actually going to happen with the top tier Texas teams this weekend, Spencer?
I'm gonna start with A&M and Clemson.
All right.
I think this game is going to be an absolute war. I think they are going to be hitting each other in the mouth hard. I think A&M is ready for this game. They are upset after only losing by 2 last year. There were some questionable calls that should have gone the other way. We could debate that all day. I think A&M is ready. I think they've been prepared. Jimbo Fisher is a great coach, but obviously we know Clemson's a great team. I think this game is going to be a slugfest, heavyweight, knockdown, drag-out war for 60 minutes, and I think A&M gets it done.
Man,
all bias aside, I think A&M gets it done.
So what's the score on that?
The score.
Same score as last year, but swapped?
No, it's going to be something like I think both teams score under 30 points because the defenses are so good. But I also could see a scenario with A&M's inexperience in the secondary that they're going to have to go shot for shot. They're going to have to match them. They're going to have to match Clemson touchdown for touchdown because A&M is inexperienced in the secondary. But I still think A&M gets this done. They're going to find a way. It's going to come down to the last drive of a 23-20, 23-17 game, and A&M's going to pull it out by less than 5 points. But this game is going to be a dogfight, and I'm so excited about it.
I hope you're right, man. Here's what I will say. There are two things about this game that I really, really like, and there's one thing about this game that I am not as much of a fan of. The first thing that I really like is that A&M's defense seems like a good match at this moment with Clemson, and here's why. A&M had 7 interceptions all of the 2018 season, right? 7 interceptions for the entire year.
Yes.
They had 3 in the first half against Texas State, and then
Trevor
another
Lawrence
one in the fourth
threw 2.
quarter. Trevor Lawrence threw 2. Now, of course, against Texas State, it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but the way in which they got it, these weren't bad throws. These weren't like throws, and I don't want to say they were great throws. These weren't throws that were directly to the they weren't directly to the DB. It wasn't like a misread. It wasn't like a dropped ball that just sort of fell into place. These are all things that are designed. These were things that Elko is doing. He's got these zone reads that he's sort of running, and I mean there were 2 plays back to back that were almost identical, just on opposite sides of the field. A DB just sitting back in the zone and tricking essentially the quarterback by just essentially cutting the route off. Mm-hmm. These are design things. I feel really good about that. So I think if at any point Trevor Lawrence is shaky or too confident,
you get him rattled.
You get him rattled, or if he tries to put it in a window and that window is just a little bit off, I think the interceptions could win. So I think if they win the turnover battle, I think they're definitely going to be in it. The other thing that I really like is that Kellen Mond is a lot more accurate this year than he
Yes,
was last
sir.
year, and you can tell that. I mean, immediately he was throwing some dimes in this game, putting them in the tiniest little
Absolute.
windows. Decisions were better. Coach Fisher was super duper into that, and he was talking about that in the post game, or and this wasn't the post game. This was the like actually the day or so after when he looked at the film. I was watching that earlier. He's very very impressed with how he's throwing the ball and decision making. So I think there's a lot to be like there. That being said, I think if Kellen Mond, because his thing last year was he played big, he played big time football and big time moments, but the reason that he couldn't pull it out against Clemson and the reason they barely pulled it out against LSU was because he didn't play a complete game. It was very slow to start. They missed some field goals. He couldn't find the end zone, and of course he stepped up at the end, and they kind of opened up the playbook a little bit because you got to move the ball. I think if Kellen Mond has as good a first half as his second half usually is, I think it's going to be a pretty interesting night.
For sure.
One thing I don't like. Oh, and one back to the defense. ETN ran all over their running back. ETN ran all over that Georgia State this weekend.
Georgia Tech.
Excuse me. Very very talented guy. Obviously, A&M's been pretty solid A&M's been pretty solid against the run last year, and they were really good against ETN last year. So I think their defense is going to be good as far as that goes. I think you're right. It's going to be a low-scoring game. The one thing I don't like about this game is Trevor Lawrence and the big-time experience, because A&M had a close game with them last year, but Trevor Lawrence only threw about 7 passes that game. They were big, and he scored on, I think, 2 of them. Was it one of them? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
But he didn't play as much in that game. Kelly Bryant played for most of it. Of course, we know how that ended up. But he's going to be there the entire time this time. He's played in a national championship. He's beaten Alabama. He's done that thing that A&M hasn't done in years. And I think he's going to come to play. So it's ultimately going to come – I think it's ultimately going to come down to the quarterbacks. It's going to be a quarterback battle. I think the defenses are going to do their job. I think it's going to be a fun night. I think that Clemson gets it done, unfortunately. But, boy, I hope you're right.
Yeah. So you're picking Clemson. You're going to go with Clemson.
I'm picking Clemson, and I'm thinking
I want A&M to win, and I think A&M's going to win.
hey, man, I hope you're right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be interesting. I think the final score probably going to be in the 20s. I think it's probably going to be something like 27-24 Clemson or 27-20 Clemson, something along those lines.
Very low score.
Yeah, for sure.
So tell me about Texas and LSU, Daryl.
Well, it's unfortunate because Texas, I feel like, could do it, but they have a couple things going on. So number one, Joshua Moore, I believe, one of their wide receivers is out indefinitely now because he violated team rules. So Kirk Turner is done with him.
I didn't hear about that.
I found that out like an hour or so ago, and then a little bit after that, their running back Jordan Whittington, who I've met. I can't disclose how I met him, but he's a very nice kid. Which is unfortunate because he's injured, so he's going to be out. I think like 4 to 6 weeks. I believe it was it might have been a calf. I forgot exactly what it was, but he's going to be out for a bit, and they're expecting a lot out of him. He actually played against West Orange. He was what was he? What was that school? Cuervo. Whenever they played Cuervo.
Cuero,
yeah. Mm-hmm. He played with them. Very talented guy. Very nice. He's going to be out. So, and those are two of their. I don't want to say they're big playmakers because they're both young, but those are two weapons that Sam Ehlinger is going to need. Mm-hmm. I think LSU's defense, to me, is much better than Georgia's defense, just because of not because of talent. I think they both are very talented teams. LSU historically just runs very tight defense, and I think if the LSU defense shows up in Austin, it's going to be a long night. I think LSU gets it done probably by 10. I think it'll probably also be low scoring, but I think it might crack the 30s.
Yeah. I could see that, but another scenario I could see happening is both of these offenses are very prolific. So if the defenses don't show up like they should, this game might get into the upper 30s, upper 40s, and it's going to go. I could see that happening. Is Texas quote-unquote back? I don't know. I don't want to say that yet, but Sam Ehlinger's a very good quarterback. They've got weapons all over the field.
Tell you what, it's going to be a hell of a fun game to watch.
Oh, it's going to be a great game to watch. And, Obviously with our history, me and you grew up UT fans. I know your dad's still a big supporter of UT. But like, so, and obviously I'm an LSU fan, but I'm trying to be objective and non-biased. I think this is going to be a very good game. It's going to be a fun game between two powerhouse teams. But I think LSU gets it done, and I think they get it done by at least 10 points. That's
I agree with you.
Unbiased, unfiltered opinion.
And honestly, you know what I think it's going to come down to, and make this be the thing that we come back to and talk about, because if we draw comparisons to the Georgia game, LSU, the best DBs in football. I mean, not football, in college football right now.
100%.
Vastly better than Georgia. Georgia's obviously a fantastic team, great defense. They have better DBs than anybody else Texas is going to play or has played last year. Yes. And I think that is going to make the difference. They're going to be able to run the ball a little bit. I think they will be able to move the ball on the ground. I think you're going to see a lot of Semmellinger running in for a touchdown. I think he will absolutely keep one and run in for a touchdown. I have no doubt that's going to happen, but he will not be able to move the ball through the air like he wants, and that's going to cause problems because when you stop one end of an offense, you really slow down the other.
Oh, for sure. I think Grant Delpit is going to have a great game if he's on his stuff. They gave him the number 7 jersey. This is the biggest game of the weekend. Gameday is going to be there. I think this is going to be a very fun game. And LSU likes to go in other people's houses. They love to show up and 100%. But unbiased, yes, LSU is my team. Unbiased, I think LSU gets it done. Now, for my biased opinion, here we go. Hey, Bevo, Mike the Tiger is coming and barbecue is on the menu, so you better be ready.
He's bigger than a bulldog.
100%.
They better keep Bevo drugged up because it's going to be a wild night. It's going to be a fun night to be in Austin, man. We're not going to go to the game, obviously, but there's going to be a lot of fun had that night.
Unless we luck into some tickets, but I doubt it.
Right.
But yeah,
it's going to. He's like, "Hey guys, come on, you can sit in the booth with me." I'm like, oh my god.
Oh, that'd be great, dude. I would love that. But
go to Home Depot and see if they're there. you know, like that commercial.
That'd be sweet. But yeah, dude, game day is going to be a fun experience. It's going to be my first experience actually going to a game day. Like, you've been to a couple, haven't you?
I've been to. I know it's at least been one, but I may have went to a second one like as they were cleaning up. But I know for sure I did. I went to the Bama and A&M 2013 one.
That game was great.
That game was great, and then I went to, or I was supposed to go to the 2016 A&M Tennessee game, which was also a fantastic game.
Yes.
One of the games no one thinks about because it didn't really matter in the long run, but it was very good at the time. It was number 9, number 10. Went into overtime. We won off of a pick.
Yeah, I remember that game, dude. I was watching that game, and I was going to go hang out with a friend of mine, and I was going to go pick him up. And I was watching that game, and I was like, all right, we're getting close to the end. A&M's running away with it, and then Tennessee comes back, and we go to overtime, and I'm like, crap.
That game took years off my life, man.
Yeah. That game was insanity.
Let's get some rapid fire picks, man. Tell me about Boise State, the hero in shining armor this weekend against Marshall. What's happening here?
I don't know much about Marshall, but I like the way Boise State played against Florida State. I like their quarterback, and yeah, I think Boise State gets it done.
I think they ride the momentum. They get it done. It's going to be at home. Going to be on the blue turf. I think it'll be a lot of fun, and I think they'll enjoy themselves, and they'll get a quality win.
Yeah. What time slot is that one in?
That is the Friday at 7.
Friday at 7. Okay, I see it here now.
8. I misspoke. The Friday at 8. Maybe it was 7, depending on your time zone.
I think any time me and you are going to be looking at is going to be Central.
Yeah. Anyone? What am I choosing now?
Tell me about Rutgers and Iowa. Saturday at 11.
Iowa is like the Pittsburgh Steelers of college football, just because of their colors.
Yeah, that color scheme's nice.
The color scheme's nice, and the way they play always reminds me. I think Iowa's going to get it done. I think they probably win by.
Yeah, I think they win big.
For a reason.
Yeah. Rutgers, This is the 150th season of college football, and Rutgers was where the first college football game was played.
Really?
Yeah, and I actually saw on Instagram they're wearing. They're an Adidas school now. They're wearing throwback uniforms that are long sleeve jerseys inspired by like uniforms from back in the day, and they look really nice.
Should be our.
Yeah, they look really good. I don't know if they're wearing them this week, but they are going to be wearing them at some point throughout the season.
To that. We'll be coming back to that because that's classic.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Brother, give me a score specifically. I don't want any information. I just want a score on Mizzou versus West Virginia.
West Virginia 42, Mizzou 21.
Really, you're going that big?
Yeah.
Not even going to give Mizzou. You're not even going to let Mizzou break 30.
No, because their offense couldn't stop a cold. But I don't know about. I mean, not their offense, their defense. Excuse me.
I was like, I don't know.
Their offense probably couldn't catch a cold either. But yeah, I mean, that's probably gonna be a high scoring game because I don't know about West Virginia's defense. But
yeah,
I think West Virginia wins that one.
No, man, I actually like Mizzou. I think Mizzou's going to come out. They're going to rebound. I think that there's going to have. I always like games like this because it shows how a team responds because they're favored to win this game. I mean, they're giving them actually they don't have a line posted yet.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a game where you can either bounce back and sort of look, put the ugly loss behind you, and sort of define what the rest of your season is going to look like, or you could just sort of keep crashing because this is a losable game. I mean, West Virginia is a solid even without Will Greer, they're going to have a pretty solid year, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mizzou gets it done, but it's interesting because this is a game they very well could lose, and if they do, then the rest of the year is going to be ugly because it's hard to bounce back from I don't want to say a lesser team and then go out and I'll be able to get it done against someone you're still favored to win.
Yeah. All right, Daryl, tell me about the battle of the black and gold between Vanderbilt at Purdue on Saturday at 11 a.m. on the Big Ten Network.
That's, first of all, just real quick, I'd like to say that is my recliner game of the week.
That's your layback game?
That's my lay it back. That's my relaxation game. I think that's going to be a fun game to watch because it is a bowl game, or like it's like a rivalry-esque sort of history game.
I mean, I don't know if it's a rivalry, but they both wear black and gold, so it's just going to be.
So is it official, or did you make that up?
Oh, I made that up.
Oh,
but like they both wear like Vanderbilt's black and gold and white, and Purdue's black and gold and white. So
I was convinced. I was like, oh, well, this must be like a real thing. I don't know, man. I'm into it though. This is one of those fun matchups. You look at a Purdue team that likes to do a thing like do a little thing called upset Ohio State, and then you look at a little team called Vanderbilt, who's allegedly an SEC team with a respectable defense. It's an interesting matchup. I think this is a game. I mean, they got it pretty split. They're expecting Purdue to pull it out. And I would take Purdue as well. I think that Purdue's probably going to win in one of the ugliest games you've ever seen. But I like it. I think they're gonna get hot second half after a very low scoring first half.
Yeah, I think Rondale Moore runs all over Vanderbilt's defense. And if you don't know anything about Rondale Moore, look him up and watch his highlights. That dude's a beast.
He had a great week this week.
Yeah, but
24 yards, 1 touchdown.
Yeah, but Purdue lost to Nevada on a last-second field goal, 56-yarder by a true freshman kicker.
That's right, and then the old boy got on scholarship.
Yes, sir. It was a great moment for him. Good luck to that young man. I don't remember his name. I say young man like I'm that much older than he is.
I hope that he actually got it for a couple years because, again, I won't disclose how I know this, but I did come to find out that not all of those like walk-on scholarships are long-term. Sometimes it's just for 1 year. So I hope it was a long-term thing.
Yeah. Well, they said scholarship, but I don't know if because sometimes you watch those videos and he'll say you're on full scholarship, and then other times they'll just say you're on scholarship.
Right,
so
right.
is
so
there?
They might just cover him for the year or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
it makes sense.
That's still
to do
great.
1 year though. Yeah, it makes sense to do it 1 year though because then you save a spot for future, and then also if they actually step up and impress you, you can keep it going.
Yeah, so for sure.
Let me look for a game here for you, brother. Tell me What is one of our actual featured games? Ah, yes. Tell me about Army and Michigan.
Army and Michigan. I'm big on Army this year, man. Army has a very favorable schedule. They had a really good season last year. That triple option offense is something deadly, man. And if they get to running it and they get good, that triple option offense, like we saw when the Citadel played Alabama, is all about scheme and time of possession. So if Army can keep time of possession and play good on defense, which I think they might, I think they've got a chance in this game. If not, and Michigan comes out to win it, I know Michigan's probably favored real high. They're number 7 right now. The new rankings haven't come out as of this recording, so they're still number 7 to us. But as soon as, excuse that phone ringing, if Michigan wins this game, I think it'll be Army's only loss in the season.
I kind of agree with you. I think more than anything, because I do think Michigan will win this game. And you know me, I'm always keen on Army as well. I usually am telling you how much they're going to beat Navy by.
Oh, yeah. They're going to beat Navy by a bunch this year, let me tell you that.
Right. Well, it's just how much. I got to get that nailed down. But I think it's going to be an interesting first half. I think that Michigan's going to really pull away in the second half. But ultimately, I think this is a game. This is not a throwaway game for Michigan. This is not like when they play some little, local Michigan,
Central Michigan or somebody like that.
Yeah, it's not one of those. This is a legitimate team that, maybe isn't as big as they are going to be playing. But to me, this is a good litmus test of where Jim Harbaugh actually is.
Yeah.
The Army's got a good defense. It's going to be interesting to see how, Shea Patterson, see how their offense is running.
Yeah,
Be a good test.
If they overlook Army, this is gonna be. They're gonna have a long day. I tell you that much.
If by some way Army wins this game.
If Army wins this game, Army's probably going undefeated.
Yeah, pretty much. I feel like if Army wins this game, there will be no other upsets.
If no other upsets on Saturday. I mean, there's not really too many upset shots, Oh,
I mean, would you if Texas beat LSU, would you consider that an upset?
No, they're both top 10 teams.
I wouldn't either, but I think a lot of people would.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between number 6 and number 10, which is what LSU and Texas currently are, is negligible, right? They're both top 10 teams. It's that'd be like asking if it'd be an upset if number 8 beat number 7. No,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. No, that wouldn't be an upset.
That being said, A&M beating Clemson would be an upset.
Yes, I believe that would be an upset. And by the time the new rankings come out, A&M could very well be a top 10 team. They may move up after their performance against Texas State. Somebody else could get bumped down. I think Florida needs to get bumped out of the top 10. But somebody could get bumped out of the top 10 and A&M could go into the top 10. And then it would be another top 10 matchup on Saturday. But I still think if A&M beats Clemson, that is definitely an upset for sure.
And even if they don't win, if they make it close, if they make it as close as they did last year, they're going to the top 10. That's a loss. That's a loss that you would move up on.
For sure. And that kind of ties into a topic that we didn't get to this week, but we're definitely
that's going to be a special. We're going to have a whole episode going back and forth on that.
Yeah, that needs to be one of our little breakfast discussions that we need to have.
Absolutely.
Maybe we save that for not an actual podcast episode, but we just sit down and that's just an additional episode, just talking about that.
As long as it's recorded, because there's going to be some fireworks.
Oh, for sure.
Well, give me a game. Feed me one.
Yeah. Tell me about Nebraska and Colorado.
You cut out there. Nebraska and who?
Colorado.
Nebraska and Colorado. So Colorado, correct me if I'm wrong, had a pretty impressive showing last week, did they not? Yeah, they won. Who did they play?
Colorado State.
Colorado State.
And I only know that because they play them the first week of every season.
Of course. No, if I remember right, I think actually I'm looking at the highlights right now. Colorado was impressive. I found out that A&M is playing Colorado, I think, in 2022, so that kind of piqued my interest on them.
Old school Big 12 game.
Right. This is a game. This is one of those make or break games to me for Scott Frost because this is a capable team. If you're outside the top 25, but if you're outside the top 25, but looking for teams that could potentially break in at some point, this is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a team that I think what you're really looking at is like number 24 versus around number 26 or 27.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a quote unquote ranked matchup, just sort of a little farther down the bracket. I think it's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be close. I think, and I have a weird feeling about this. I think Colorado is going to get it done, and I think that Scott Frost is going to be in a bad spot. Don't wish anything bad for the guy. I really want him to do well because Nebraska is a very historic team. But I think they're going to get it done, man. I think it's going to be close. I think Colorado pulls it out.
Like I said, Colorado got them last year. This return of an old Big 12 rival. They used to play every year. Colorado got them last year in Scott Frost's first season, and Nebraska went 4-8. I would not have Nebraska in the top 25. I know a lot of people are high on them right now. Yeah. Adrian Martinez, he's a great quarterback. I think he's going to have a good season. But I'm with you. I think Colorado somehow pulls this one out. This was going to be, this was going to be a fight. They're going to go back and forth, and so I think that's it.
That's like the second place.
Yeah, that's going to be my layback game of the week.
Yeah, I was going to say that would be the other one because it's just not a lot that we're worried about necessarily, but lots of drama that is unrelated.
Yeah. And, it's week 2. We're going to start to get into, better games, bigger games, but,
You want to explain to me how New Mexico State's finna pull this upset against Alabama?
Because
you have a knack for doing that.
I do have a knack for doing that, but this ain't one of them.
Man, you're not gonna give the New Mexico State Aggies a chance to knock off. They have a 0.01% chance.
They've got the same chances that Duke did, slim and none, and Slim left town.
And none came down with the flu.
Yeah.
Got hit by a bus. Tell me about UConn and Illinois.
UConn and Illinois. Give me Illinois. They beat Akron real big last week.
I agree. They're coming off a hot win. UConn ain't doing nothing.
Yeah. So.
Bottom of the barrel game.
Yes, sir.
Throwing shade this week because it feels appropriate.
Yeah, we've got the Ole Miss Rebels coming hot off of a loss to Memphis 15-10, and the Arkansas Razorbacks coming off of a struggle win, as Funny Mane would say, against Portland State. Yeah, these two, they're ACC teams, but they are in the doghouse right now, and
this is what I call a time machine matchup, because if you look at this game from about 5 years ago, this is a nail biter. We're talking an Ole Miss team with maybe 1 or 2 losses. We're talking an Arkansas team that's got nothing to lose, but it has all the talent.
The one where they threw that big lateral and pulled that upset.
Who was the boy that had the little brother, the Allen kid?
The Allen twins, the Allen brothers.
The older brother, and that lateral that won. I think they had. Who did they have? They had what's his face? That was it.
The running back. I don't remember his name.
Yeah, but he was at Baltimore. He might still be at Baltimore. Anyways, yeah, this is a time machine game because super uninteresting this week. I mean, regardless of how this game goes, unless you're an Ole Miss fan or an Arkansas fan, you don't care.
Yeah.
Because they're two like D tier SEC teams that don't deserve to be in the West right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know where to begin with this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Ole Miss in this one because I liked some of the stuff they were doing against Memphis. Although I wanted Memphis to win that game, and they ended up doing it. Shout out to Morris Joseph Jr., a guy who went to West Orange, who plays for Memphis.
Small world.
Yes, sir. But yeah, I like the stuff that Ole Miss was doing. But I do like the fact that Arkansas switched back to their classic uniforms. They look really good.
I heard about that.
They look really good. The uniforms they had when Darren McFadden was there. So
question about Arkansas. I know they're kind of back and forth because the one quarterback is just more familiar with the system. Hicks.
Yeah.
He was more familiar with the system, but I think Starkle got some playing time.
I have no idea.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, I think it's going to be kind of a whatever game. But if I had to pick, I think I got to. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and just be opposite of you. I'm going with the Razorbacks. I think that somehow they're going to pull it out. I think that this is where they draw a line in the sand, and we're starting a 10-year plan to become relevant again. I think this is where it begins. A good win against Ole Miss is always a spirit lifter because no one likes Ole Miss. In my opinion,
mean, Ole Miss fans like Ole Miss.
I don't even think they do. I think they're just kind of there.
I think they got suckered into that.
They got roped into it.
They got the wrong end of the deal on that one.
They got those things in the mail, like the college ads in the mail, and it was just the first one they got, and they immediately were like, "I'm going there."
Yeah, for sure. How many of those did you get when you
They live in Oxford.
Yeah. How many of those little letters did you get when you were? What schools really badly wanted you to come to their school?
That's a good question. I'm trying to think. I want to say TCU is awful keen on sending me stuff.
TCU wanted me real bad. They sent me a bunch of stuff.
I think that area, man. I don't know because
and I wanted to go to TCU for a little bit. That was a school I talked about, wanting to go to when I was in high school. But TCU and LSU wanted me bad.
I never got anything from LSU. I didn't get a whole lot of it, honestly. I kind of searched everybody else out.
Yeah, that's about all I got. I think I got like one from somewhere else, but TCU and LSU sent me some stuff.
Blew out my knee in my junior year, so I wasn't able to be the water boy anymore. I had to step away. I had to retire.
Yeah.
Well, I think that about does it for all the pick'ems.
Yeah, I'm good on all that.
Me with the most beautiful uniforms we're gonna see this week or this season. Your pick.
I like a lot of the things that the Under Armour schools are doing this season. It is the 150th season of college football. A lot of them are doing throwbacks, and a lot of them look really good. I like the ones that Boston College are doing. I like the ones that South Carolina are doing. They're using their black jersey as a throwback, and Will Muschamp said they're going to use that black jersey as their standard black jersey going forward. And I really like the new thing, and I think it kind of started last year or 2 years ago. The new thing in college football, when they do a throwback uniforms, they have those little fake, like mesh-looking dots in the numbers and in the jerseys, like in the numbers and then like the name, like the team name on the jerseys, like the throwbacks that A&M wore last year, and then there was some Nebraska wore, and they look really good. And it's a modern jersey with like modern jersey technologies in it that looks like an old school jersey. And
it's so nice that they do that.
Yeah, it looks really good.
It sort of honors the classic style of a very breathable jersey, Yeah.
And then those Rutgers, even though they're an Adidas school, that was where the first college football game was played. And I hope College Game Day goes to Rutgers just one time this week, or this season, not this week, this season, because it wouldn't feel right if they didn't. I don't think Rutgers is going to have a very good season. I don't think they're a very good team right now. But it would be nice if that's where they went for maybe the last one of the year, if there's no other bigger games.
You couldn't think of a nice way to say that, so you just kind of rushed through it.
Yeah,
they're a good team, so.
Yeah, but they're not a team this year that would have game day come to them, except for the fact that they're Rutgers, and that was where the first college football game ever was played 150 years ago.
They're not eating their Lucky Charms. They're eating their stuff this year.
Yeah, they're not eating their Wheaties. They're on them cardboard pellets, not Fruit Loops.
Right. Soggy cardboard and almond milk.
Yeah. So. But yeah,
I like those uniforms. I know what you're saying. Just the classic sort of holes make it more breathable. Obviously, it's not real, but just the look of it is so.
Yeah, the printed illusion of mesh holes in the numbers look really good.
To actually non-functional holes that they put in the numbers.
Yeah, well, because the jersey technology is so much better this year. I was watching just some throwback uniform type reveals, and there was one that. Before A&M switched to their current style uniforms with the stripes on the shoulders and the different kind of pants, they were doing one when Von Miller was still in college at A&M. They were showing, and Von Miller's a big boy. He's big, he's broad across the shoulders, and he picked up this old school Adidas like team, like they were calling, I don't know what they were calling it, some kind of speed flex, team flex, something like that. And it was tiny, and they like stretch, but like that technology is there, so like you can't be grabbed by linemen and people trying to tackle you and stuff. So, but yeah,
Forms are amazing. It's amazing they can do what they do.
For sure. And like it makes stuff recognizable. If you're watching a game and you turn it on, and they've gotten to such a thing, you can look at the screen and know who's playing. Like, which team that is.
Right.
So.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like a logo.
Yeah, for sure. But you got anything else?
Just a quick update, because as we're recording this, obviously we're not going to be able to talk about this game because it falls on our recording day. But right now, Louisville is up on Notre Dame 14-7 in the first quarter, about 2 minutes left. I guess no one's playing offense. I guess no one's playing defense tonight. Surprise.
Yeah. I'm just glad there's college football tonight. I'm gonna watch the rest of that game when we get done here. So
I hope Louisville
pulls the upset. That'd be nice.
I wouldn't call it an upset.
Really? Notre Dame's number 9. I mean, it would be an upset, but
nine is a number. 9 is just a thing they put next to a name.
Yeah, I don't think Notre Dame should be in the top 10, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to allude to.
So
cool, man. You had a housekeeping thing that you wanted to mention before we go.
Yes. Our editing style is going to be changing ever so slightly. I know our first episode that went up, we had the little screen capture going, and you could see, Daryl's screen, and you could see everything that was going on, and we showed you pictures of the uniforms and stuff. But to make it easier on ourselves and to make the editing smooth, we're going to be going away from having the screen capture. It's going to be very similar to how last week's episode was, when it was just our logo through the whole thing and you just heard our audio. And if there's anything that we talked about in the actual podcast itself that we would normally have alluded to and shown on the screen, we're going to put as a link in the description if you want to go see any of that, like the uniforms we talk about our games and stuff. So
swapping to the gentleman style podcast.
Yeah. So going forward, there's going to, if there's anything we talk about that could be put on screen, it's going to be a link in the description. Now, it's not that crazy big of a change, but it's something that it's just going to make it easier on us, time-wise, editing-wise, but I think it's going to be overall for the better.
So we can't be held responsible for any angry Googling that you do, because we put a link in the description. So
yes,
you should be able to just go right to it.
Mm-hmm.
We've all had a fair share of angry Googling injuries before. I sprained my thumb once. So
yeah,
just me. You ever do that?
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever sprained a thumb.
You could have just left me hanging. You didn't have to agree.
I mean, it's whatever. But I think that's going to about do it. That's all I got. Daryl, you got anything else?
Giga Maggies. We'll see what can happen this weekend, dude.
Go Tigers.
Austin, here we come.
Yeah. There'll definitely be some additional content coming out about that, so be on the lookout.
Follow our Facebook. We might do some stories.
Yes, sir.
We might just spam your feed with random score updates. Whatever we feel like. It just depends on our mood.
We're going to figure it out. All right, man. See you on Saturday.
All right, bye.
Bye.